Hello there, Connecticut. My name is Keisha Stuckey, your host of Keisha's World. Welcome to the show, and thank you so much for tuning in. Today we have two fabulous guests. We have Roger Brewer, who is a speaker and lecturer for Withstanding the Lie. He also wrote a fabulous book, and this is the book right here, Withstanding the Lie by Roger Brewer and Nicole Brewer. And we also have with us Barbara Miner. She is actually an attendee of some of his workshops, so we're going to hear from both of them. So thank you so much for coming to the show, Roger. I really appreciate you coming out.
Yes, thank you for inviting me.
Yes. So Withstanding the Lie, just let Connecticut know what this book is all about.
This book and the workshop that we've also developed is they teach other people how to protect themselves from the loss of self-esteem and other mental and emotional hurt they might suffer due to the bigotry of others. And that's bigotry of whatever kind there might be, race, gender, economic, whatever form the bigotry may take.
Okay.
And, you know, this concept, it's a whole different conversation from what you might be used to when talking about bigotry.
Okay.
So one of the challenges that we have is to get people to really understand what we offer and the work that we offer to others, because, you know, I said just teaching others how to protect themselves. So what does that really mean? And probably the best way to explain that, to get people to understand that, is to ask someone to use your imagination and just imagine that someone has created a magic pill.
Okay.
And this pill doesn't stop all bigotry in the world, but what the pill does is that it takes away any mental and emotional hurt you might experience and any loss of self-esteem you might experience as a result of bigotry. And how big is that? And then if we can get people to envision that, and you start to ask yourself, what is the value of that, and how does that add to the quality of your life?
Right.
So that's what we really offer. We don't have the pill, but what we offer is a way to get to where that pill would take you to, if not completely eliminate the pain and suffering you might have as a result of bigotry or the loss of self-esteem, but to greatly diminish that and greatly improve the quality of your life.
Okay, so you pretty much help people with bigotry at all levels, whether it be race, gender, religion, etc.
Exactly.
And let's face it, this type of stuff happens every day. Someone's always judging somebody for something, what they have on, you know, who they hang out with, what church they go to, if they don't go to church. So this is something that a lot of people are facing every day. People are talking about it at the dinner table. You know, kids come home from school and talk about how, you know, they were discriminated against for whatever reason. And unfortunately, this is something that happens. And I think it's great what you're doing, trying to basically heal people from that so that they don't believe these lies that people are telling them, because you're not what people say you are, you're what you think you are. So if you ingest what they're saying to you and believe it as truth, that could be very detrimental to your self-esteem. I just want everyone to take a look at this awesome book cover. Just looking at it, it just makes me want to read it. It's now this picture looks so beautiful and natural. It looks like a father holding his daughter's hand. Now, is that you and your daughter?
Yes, it is.
That's amazing. Wow.
Yes.
That's beautiful. I urge everybody out here to get a copy of this book, Withstanding the Lie by Roger Brewer and Nicole Brewer. And let's let everybody know what your website is. It's www.withstandingthelie.com. So that's awesome. So you wrote this book, and so what made you want to develop workshops in addition to the book?
As I said, the concept that we're introducing, it's a different conversation altogether. And what we discovered is that people were not really understanding or appreciating the message based on the book alone. And what we felt is that in order to reach people with the message and the strategy that we were introducing, we need to get them in a workshop so that they could ask questions, they could challenge what we are telling them, they could hear what other people had to say about the ideas, and that way they would integrate the principles and practices that we're recommending more fully into their lives.
Oh, that's good. So basically you felt like they needed more one-on-one attention, more examples, make it more interactive.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Now, I'm pretty sure Connecticut is curious, as well as myself, as to what made you start something like this, because this is very different and unique.
Okay. Just to give you a little background about myself, I grew up in Georgia as a sharecropper at a time when schools were segregated by law from a very impoverished background, and I experienced bigotry from that. Strangely, it was mostly economic bigotry that really hurt me the most, because we were very poor and we were treated differently because of that. But because of that background, and because my daughter had experienced here in Connecticut bigotry as well, of a different type, a very subtle type in most cases, but it was just as harmful. And my wife and I realized that she was getting into trouble with that, and what we did, we started to teach her some of the same principles that I used to overcome a lot of the loss of self-esteem and hurt that I may have otherwise suffered. We started to teach her the same techniques that we used to help her move through that. And so we got together and we said, gee, if this helps us, then probably it can help others. So my daughter and I got together and wrote the book. So that's what it came from, because we haven't experienced that hurt, and knowing how tremendous it was, we felt that the techniques that helped us could also help others as well.
So what was it like growing up in a sharecropper? Can you just kind of touch on a little bit of what kind of bigotry you faced and how that made you feel growing up?
Yeah. The most bigotry I felt is being very poor. We were out of school for 3 or 4 months of the school year picking cotton. And the segregated schools, the segregated facilities and such, we were just precluded from, going into theaters. There were separate theaters, separate restroom. You rode on the back of the bus. All of that that you experienced, in those days.
It must make you feel pretty low of yourself if you feel like you're not welcome in these places where other people are welcome.
Yeah, it did. But some of the things that I used in those days that we are recommending here in the book, fortunately, they did not damage me in the way that it probably did others. Because I think I can say, because of those things that I used, I've always had a strong sense of self-worth, even though these things were happening to me. And that's what we believe we can offer today by using those same understanding and techniques that I used to help myself. People today who experience bigotry today may be very subtle, but just as real and just as harmful. They could use these very techniques to empower themselves as well.
Now I just want to ask you, do you have any upcoming events for your organization?
Yes, October 15th in Cromwell. If you wanted to go to the website and click on workshop, you see the detailed information there about it. It's a big event because we're just now reaching out to tell others about our workshop. This is an event where we're inviting educators, religious leaders, civil rights leaders, whomever who would have an interest to come, and we want to tell them, we'll spend the day telling them what the workshop is about, so that if they feel it has value, then we can offer that to them later, to people that they might serve somehow in their organizations and such.
That sounds great. And it's going to be October 15th?
Yes, October 15th.
At the Courtyard Marriott in Cromwell?
Yes. Space is limited, so if you're interested, you should go to our website and contact us right away before October 1st to let us know. Before October 1st.
That sounds great.
That's only in a few days.
I know, that's only a few days away, Connecticut, so definitely go on the website and register for this awesome event that is coming up. So I just wanted to speak to your wonderful friend Barbara here. Thank you so much for coming on the show. You look so lovely in your red and black ensemble. I'm so jealous. So you basically were attending some of these workshops.
Yes. How I first knew about the book was Roger explained it to the board that we're both on, that he had this book, and I was all intrigued by it, and I read it. And I thought, oh, this is really great. I read it in the book. I need more. How can I use the tools that he's giving us? And, well, actually, I didn't see the tools. I just saw things that I should be thinking about of myself and how I grew up. What do I do now? So at the book signing, I told Roger and Nicole, I am such a mad woman. I am so angry. What do I do now? Is this book going to help me? So Roger promised to follow through. And that he would have the work. He didn't know at that time that there would be a workshop. But he did invite us and told us that we would have a workshop.
Do you think you're the reason he started the workshop? He's looking at you like, Barb, you know, you look a little angry. I don't think my book is enough. Let me start a workshop.
It could be. I wasn't the only one. I got that feeling that I wasn't the only one. All right, now I read the book. What do I do? What do I do?
Why were you so angry? What kind of bigotry did you face growing up that kind of made that anger fuel up?
What brought the anger was I became a woman in the 60s, which was during the women's liberation time. And we didn't want to stay home and be housewives. Or when we went to work, we didn't want to just run a typewriter. We wanted to do other things. And my generation of women were pushed away from having our own business. We weren't allowed to have loans in our name. We had to have either our fathers or our husbands sign for us. We weren't allowed, and I was a single parent on top of that. I had 4 children. Their fathers decided that they didn't want to help me raise those kids. And finding equal pay was the hardest thing. And I would get so mad at the interviewer that he would say to me, where do you get the nerve asking that kind of money? And like I said, it was only like $3 an hour. But I think men, now this is going to make you laugh, I think men were making like $4 or $5 an hour at that time. And even though I was doing the same thing the man was, I could not get that kind of pay. I wasn't a breadwinner.
So you weren't even asking for the equal amount of pay that these men were getting. You were asking for less, and they thought that you had nerve.
Right, lots of nerve.
Really? Now, what about, I know you said you worked for an insurance company at some point. What happened
Am I
there?
allowed to tell you the name of the insurance company? I'll skip that.
We might want to leave the name out.
No. I worked for an insurance company, and their company policy was to not give as a perk to women that work there, which was like 95% women, paid for insurance as a benefit. And that all the men that work there did get paid.
So you mean to tell me there's more women working at this insurance company than men, and you have to pay for your insurance, and these men don't have to pay?
No.
Okay, that's baffling. I could kind of see why you might have been a little bit perturbed, a little angry. We call it these days hotter than fish grease. That's the word the young ones are saying now. All right, so we're just going to take a quick commercial break, but I just want to let you know, Connecticut, there is never a dull moment in Keisha's world, so definitely stay tuned. Thanks for joining us. Hello there, Connecticut. This is Keisha Stuckey, your host of Keisha's World, where there's never a dull moment. We have Roger Brewer with us and also Barbara Miner. They're representing an organization called Withstanding the Lies, where they basically help people with self-esteem and helping them heal with the bigotry that goes on every day that we've all faced. So I was in the middle of speaking with Barbara about some of the bigotry that she faced in the early 1960s, you said. Tell me a little bit about some things in the 1960s that you as a woman were not allowed to do, and why that, you know, made you angry? Just give Connecticut some examples, if you don't mind.
Well, in the 60s, and I'm not sure when the law passed that a woman could sit at a bar. I know this sounds unbelievable, but it did happen here. Women could only stand 3 feet behind the bar. You couldn't go within that 3 feet. You, I guess, had to yell for the drink that you wanted.
Oh my goodness.
And New York did allow women, but not Connecticut. There were a lot of things that women were shut out from, like the university here in Middletown was not co-ed during my time.
Other universities too, probably in the area?
I can't remember if Yale was co-ed. It might not have been.
Okay.
But it was not uncommon, because that's like a lawyer school. And it's not uncommon, although Wesleyan is a liberal arts.
So you mean basically, as a woman, if you wanted to go to college, you weren't offered that right because you were a woman?
Right.
That's terrible.
Well, they saw us as
we want to be
typists.
smart too.
Yeah, I want to learn how to be smart.
I want to be smarter than a 5th grader.
So as I went along here, I just became more and more angry. I didn't work on the problem or try to figure out how to get around it. Right. I didn't think that I was less than, and I knew I was being treated less than. Okay. But I started, I think, losing faith in myself and what I could do, because it was so restraining. Right. Finding apartments that I could live in with my 4 children, they just weren't there. Wow. You had to go into lower income, high crime areas to have a home for your children, and because your pay was reduced, you had to live like that in poverty.
So unless you had a husband or a man in the household who wasn't being bigoted, then you kind of had to suffer.
Right. Right. And during the 60s, women were divorcing at a very high rate. And it was a shock to the whole society of the way things were going. Right. And there weren't female doctors. They were rare. Okay. And a lot of, unfortunately, young, smart women decided not to go into those fields because it was so difficult. Because we were so told, no, it's like a not good enough, or you're not smart enough. This is kind of what we were all absorbing.
It's kind of like they're trying to drill it in your head that you're not worth anything and you're not capable of anything because you're a woman and not a man. Right. What other things were you not allowed to do in the 1960s?
In the 1960s, I got to think what else. What we were, the health care was a problem. Birth control was restricted in Connecticut. I think actually illegal.
Oh my goodness.
And we couldn't.
A lot of babies running around, I guess.
We were terrified. And when we did become pregnant, abortion was really bad. That was a no-no here in this state. I don't even think women could go to New York to get an abortion. I don't remember what they did. But you had to have a doctor that you knew really well. Okay. And he would hand you the name under his desk to you. Okay. And you say, and he says to me, if you tell anybody I gave you that, I'm going to tell them you're a liar. Wow. But this is who you have to call if you're pregnant. Wow. And this was the early 60s. Okay. And what it did was put a woman who had only her own income, never mind, even couples that were married, in a bad position because they were stuck having all these children, and it just was really not I was very mad.
I can imagine. I think that anyone would be angry if they had to face that kind of bigotry on a day-to-day basis. It sounds like you endured a lot of sufferings and hardships, and not really believing in yourself because, I mean, no one really gave you a chance to believe in yourself. So tell me how Roger Brewer's program helped you to heal from that. Look, you have a smile on your face. Go ahead, Roger. You done broke her anger. Go ahead. You talented. So tell me, how did he help
What Roger did was help me understand my own self-worth. Okay. That I was just the same as that guy, and HR telling me that I could not earn that income.
Okay.
That he had the same structure as I did. He breathed just like I did.
Yeah.
He had to go to the bathroom just like I did.
Okay.
He had problems just like me, and that I was no less than him. And I sort of started thinking about that. And it's sort of like, oh yeah, I'm not less than that, and I'm not dumb. I tell my boss all the time how to do stuff.
Okay.
And it sort of like started a healing. I think what I did was get away from getting back at that guy.
Okay.
And making him pay for all the problems that I had. I started having inner peace. And I learned how to turn away.
Wow. So
when
you
I'm
learned how to
treated
let
that
it go.
way.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I'm really glad for you
So am I.
that you ran into him. You know, it's amazing how we're just minding our business and we run into these awesome people that are able to help us get to that next step in life. And I'm really excited for you that you were able to let that anger kind of settle down and be more peaceful, because we know that stress is the #1 killer. It's not good to walk around feeling angry because it can affect us physically. So I'm really glad that he was able to help you. So what it basically sounds like is that people lie to us every day. And once those lies accumulate, if you allow yourself to believe those lies, then you're going to become angry. You're not going to believe in yourself. You're going to have low self-esteem, and you're not going to try to obtain those goals. So it sounds like Mr. Brewer kind of deprogrammed you and told you that those things were not the truth. And not only were they not the truth, you don't have to be mad at this person and hold on to that anger.
Right. Because some people are angry, some people go into severe depression, and suicides occur. We have bullies at school. A lot of it, Roger explains to me, the bully has a problem too.
That's true, yes.
And Roger has many tools for teachers to solve these problems and how to work with these children. And I just know that we're all going to be a better people with each other and have unity.
That's awesome. That's perfect. Thank you so much for your input.
Welcome.
Really appreciate having you on the show.
Oh, I
and
love
I'm so happy for you. So Roger, just tell us a little bit more, about the program, and just fill Connecticut in on, more of what you're doing and how people can heal and cope from bigotry.
I think one of the biggest things we try to get people to understand in order to motivate them to use these strategies, because if you don't understand why it's important, you don't do it.
Right.
Yeah, we try to get people to understand the harm that occurs as a result of your mental and emotional harm when you suffer bigotry.
Okay.
Because what happens, if you don't feel good about yourself, there goes the quality of your life. How can you be happy or live a qualitative life if you think you're not worth much at all?
That's true.
In addition to that, the loss of self-esteem that you suffer puts you in a position so that you cannot achieve at the same level as others.
Right.
It doesn't matter that you have laws that give you equal opportunity to achieve. If you don't feel good about yourself, you're not going to assert yourself, and you're not going to take advantage of what the law offers.
Right.
So there's a tremendous harm to you. And if you don't do something to address it, you're getting hit from both sides. The bigotry is continuing, and you're being destroyed on the inside, by mentally and emotionally, by what's happening to you. So we believe that we should continue with our efforts to stop bigotry. But in the meantime, while we're trying to stop bigotry, we have to do something now to protect ourselves on the inside. And that's what this program is about, is about protecting yourselves on the inside.
So basically, it's like we're walking around and we're not realizing how this negative bigotry is affecting us, because it happens every day, and you go home and you go through your routine, and you're not really realizing how it's having a negative effect on you, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay.
And we try to get people to a point where you can experience a bigoted incident.
Okay.
Or bigotry by implication, whether it's subtle or not, and walk away from that incident not being hurt mentally and emotionally at all. And you can get there depending on your own growth and your commitment to the principles and practices that we talk about, because you understand that it's a lie that you're dealing with, and when you understand it's a lie, those things that people do to you don't hurt you in the way that they would otherwise.
Okay. Well, I'm sold. I want to be a student. I just want to share with you, I went to a Catholic school, and when we were in 7th grade, we all had to take these, like the CMTs, and I actually got a 91 in the English section. And they had novel class, and then they had regular English class, and all the smart kids were in the novel class, and I used to tease them and say, oh, you guys have to go to the boring class, because the principal taught it. They had to read these really thick novels. And they said, well, the only reason why we're in the class is because we got above an 85 on the scholastic testing. And I said, well, I got a 91. So here I am, I'm great in English, great in reading vocabulary, and the principal neglected to put me in this higher level class. Now, my parents paid a lot of money for me to go to this Catholic school, so I didn't know that I was an author, a writer, until I was in 10th grade, and I did a paper, and my teacher pulled me to the side, and I thought I was in trouble. And he said, no, I really love your essay, and I would like to have it published. He said, I don't know if you realize this, but you are a writer. Now, I could have known that in 7th grade if they would have let me participate in that class. So bigotry does affect people on an everyday basis. So Connecticut, I just want to let you know, don't believe the lies that people tell you, that you're not good enough, you're never going to be anything. You know, believe in yourself and just keep it moving, and call Roger so that he can heal you from like the whole experience, and you know, just believe in yourself. I'm so grateful that you were able to come on the show, and I'm just grateful that you know, you took the initiative to start something like this, because some people look at this type of issue and they just forget about it and they just walk away, but you actually cared enough to want to help people. So thank you so much, you guys, for tuning in to Keisha's World. There's never a dull moment in Keisha's World, so make sure you stay tuned every week, and just take care, and God bless. All right now.
I loved it.